Hi everyone, Happy New Year. It's Eliza here to give you my January reading wrap up because I had some wins, some flops, and I want to talk to you about them. As they say, you have to kiss a few frogs to find your prince. So, although I actually quite like frogs, not for kissing, but in general. So, maybe that's not such an insult to some of these books. First, we're going to go back in time to earlier in January where I reviewed a few of the first books that I read for the year. So, ready to time travel? Let's go. The two short stories I read are both from the Into Shadow collection. Some truths are carefully concealed, others merely forgotten. Venture into the depths where others fear to tread, which sounded very up my alley because I love a bit of dark, ghosty, possibly fantasy. Because each of the short stories is its own entity. You don't have to read them in order, so I read the last two first. Don't ask me why, I just did. The first one I read is Out of the Mirror Darkness by Garth Nix, who I'd never read before. And based on this, I don't know if I'd read him again. It was not the best start to the reading year, but it can only go up from here. It takes place on a film set and a dog and one of the actresses are both acting strangely, and our main character is trying to solve how to fix it. The thing with short stories is because they are short, you don't have a lot of time to get a feel for the characters and to care about them or empathize with them too much. This basically was like The Mummy, except not good and not fun. The writing in this was really juvenile. Really, the only character I cared about was the dog. There was no tension. It was like life and death, and I didn't care. So that was disappointing. I gave it like 2 stars, and that's kind of being generous. It gave nothing. The next one was better, and it was The Candles Are Burning by Veronica G. Henry, who I also had never read. So this is a good way to get a taste of a few different authors. We followed a black woman in the South in America. Her husband just suddenly dies and it turns the world upside down for her, understandably so. But we learn that that's not an isolated incident, and we find out what is going on behind the scenes, and that again there is some kind of malevolent, spiritual, ghostly entity that's causing this to happen. With this one I don't really want to give too much away because it was better and I would actually maybe recommend it. I felt like the characterization was a lot better than the other one. I gave this one around a 3-star. Also because I don't read much about that time period or that place. So that was an interesting aspect because you could actually get a sense of atmosphere. Then finally, things picked up with the novel that I read. I gave it a 5-star, and that is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite, which was great. This is a short and punchy 230-ish page book about a pair of sisters, one of whom is a serial killer. It's about their dynamic. We follow what happens from them and looking at this certain pattern that the sisters have got going on. It's a thriller, but it almost feels a bit more literary fiction, but in a good way, because I don't always love literary fiction books because I often find them to be too abstract vibes rather than actual plot, whereas this you get both. I was guessing the whole time of what was going to eventuate, and it was good. I will probably film an actual proper review video for this because I love it so much. Would recommend stay tuned for an actual review. Conversely, the book that I was really excited to read about that let me down, that I actually DNF'd, was Missing White Woman by Kelly Garrett, which has a really interesting premise but did not deliver in terms of writing style at all. Our main character, who is a black woman in America in modern times, she and her boyfriend have hired an Airbnb for the weekend. They've gone to a little town where a local white woman has gone missing, which is gaining heaps of media attention from official news outlets as well as online TikTok true crime obsessed sleuths. The book is said to bring into focus the disparity between if white people go missing compared to if black people go missing, and how that is handled online and in news and socially, in at least the context of America, how everyone is up in arms about this missing white woman, and also how everyday people getting involved in investigations isn't always helpful. And I thought this premise sounded great. I was wondering what's going to happen. Is our main character going to also be attacked or something, and it will be handled differently? And then we get to the main sort of first plot point, which was a good one. Unfortunately, the writing style and way it was written was just lacking. Very tell, don't show. No tension, not tense at all, except for just within the one moment when something really happens. But even after, straight away, I was like, is the way this character reacting, does this feel real? No, not really. None of it really felt real to me either. It felt repetitive. I didn't enjoy the characters. It felt very flat in its descriptions. She also used some kind of weird, out of place metaphors. Like at one point, her and her boyfriend are having banter in their little Airbnb before all the drama happens. She wrote something along the lines of, I smiled as if I had pulled a smile out of a hat like a magician, or something like that, where it just was kind of like, okay. I got 30% in and was not into it enough to keep going, so I sadly put it down and DNF'd it, even though I'm also proud of myself for DNFing, because I'm trying not to force myself to finish books if they disappoint me. But I was really bummed because I was looking forward to it. Welcome back to the present. Now on to the two books that I am currently reading, both of which I am loving, both of which are whimsical and fantastical, which was one of my reading goals as well, to read more fantasies this year, although these are both quite different. So I'll start with the one that's actually a proper novel. The first book is Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. Jennifer Saint wrote Ariadne, then Electra, then she wrote this a few years ago, and it's been sitting on my shelves since I actually pre-ordered this. I forgot about that. I pre-ordered this in like 2021 or whenever it was released. Since then, she's also come out with Hera, and then also is coming out with, or just came out with, Aphrodite. I enjoyed both Ariadne and Electra, but I was not in love with either of them. Sometimes I felt like the pacing was a little bit maybe slow for me, whereas this I am a quarter-ish of the way through and loving every moment of it. This is the heroic story of the only female Argonaut, which I forgot about when I was reading this, and then I just got to that bit where she was about to go on the boat, and I was like, wait, she's leaving the forest, but I'm loving this time in the forest, so oops. When Princess Atalanta is born, a daughter, she is left on a mountainside to die, but even then she is a survivor. Raised by a mother bear under the protective eye of the goddess Artemis, Atalanta grows up wild and free, with just one condition. If she marries, it will be her undoing. When Artemis offers her the chance to fight in her name alongside the Argonauts, the fiercest band of warriors the world has ever seen, Atalanta seizes the opportunity. The Argonauts' quest for the Golden Fleece is filled with impossible challenges, but Atalanta proves herself equal to the men she fights alongside. Can Atalanta carve out her own legendary place in a world of men while staying true to her heart? Because I'm guessing that she is going to meet someone who she's gonna want to marry, and it's not gonna go well. I don't remember how this goes, so in a way it's more fun because I don't actually know the ins and outs of her story prior to reading this. The imagery of the forest has been very beautiful and lush and almost lyrical, but not too much so. I think I just love stories of women hunting in the woods, like Katniss from the Hunger Games, and the first couple of chapters of the Court of Thorns and Roses book, and I only read the first book, but I loved when she was angsty and hunting, even though she was kind of insufferable too. But I was like, girl's gotta eat, and she's providing for her family. And then they all leave the forest, man. Why can't they just stay there? It's ironic too, because I don't like the idea of hunting, and I don't eat a lot of animal products, so but I love reading about it. This story definitely romanticizes living in the woods, hunting. We get to meet Atalanta while she's living with the goddess Artemis, who comes and goes, and also all these water nymphs, and they live in harmony and they braid each other's hair. I said that it's whimsical, but it also doesn't shy away from the harsh reality especially for women, even immortal women, their lives can be drastically negatively affected by men's choices. I'm predicting this could be a 4 or 5 star. Maybe those are some big assumptions while I'm only a quarter of the way through, because there's still so much to go, but I am loving it so far. I don't want it to be over. My other book that I am currently reading, I picked up while book shopping with my friend Laura, who you might have seen in some of my videos. This is a book I'm dipping in and out of, pardon the pun, because it is The Mermaid Atlas. Merfolk of the World by Anna Claiborne, illustrated by Mirin Asayan Laura. Another Laura. I would have been obsessed with this as a kid, but also I'm not a kid anymore, and I'm still very obsessed. I love mermaids. I wanted to be a mermaid when I was younger. I kind of still do, except actually I have a fear of the vast ocean where you can't see or feel the bottom. It freaks me out. But ignoring that fact, I'd love to be a mermaid. This is just the most beautiful picture book. I love the color scheme, the illustrations. I like how it's written as if mermaids are real and it's just telling facts about them. Magical and mysterious, merfolk are notoriously elusive, but this enchanting compendium will reveal their secrets. From the beautiful selkies of the Scottish seas to the fearful Nino of Japan, meet mermaids from all around the world and hear their mystical tales. This book goes through each continent and features a mix of mermaid facts about different mermaids and similar ocean and water creatures, including the Little Mermaid of Denmark, Lorelei from Germany, Mamiwata from different parts of Africa, and Dakuwaka from Fiji. Because we all know about the Little Mermaid, but I really wanted to broaden my knowledge of different mermaid stories from around the world. And funny story about this book is that I saw it 5 years ago just randomly in this small town somewhere down the coast. I couldn't justify buying it at the time, but I still thought about it all the time. I didn't think to just buy it online, I think, because I didn't have a purpose, so to speak, even though it's like enjoyment is a purpose. And then recently when I went to Sappho Books, they had this and I was like, oh, I've never seen it anywhere else. Oh my gosh, I have to get it. So I did. No regrets. Also predicting this will be a 5 star. That would be fabulous, because then I would be starting the year with My Sister the Serial Killer, Atalanta, and Mermaid Atlas, and that's 3 in the first kind of month of the year. And I do not get 5-star books that frequently. Maybe it's also me making good choices about what to read. Before you go, just a few thoughts on what I might be reading next month, or this month, depending when this, I was about to say when this book goes up, when this video goes up. For February, my book club is reading The Wedding People. Funny story about that too. I did a huge declutter to start the year off. I put it in my declutter pile. And one of my friends who I had over, she was looking at my books and I was like, take as many as you want from that pile. And she took The Wedding People, thinking it sounded good. And then it turned out to be my book club pick for February that we're going to discuss. So I have to now find a different version. And then the other book that I may or may not read is Wuthering Heights, because the movie is coming out. I'm pretty excited about the movie. I know there's a lot of talk online about the fact that it's Wuthering Heights, but yet it's completely different to the story of Wuthering Heights from what we can tell. But I've also heard that it's an unadaptable story to turn into a movie. A lot of liberties will be taken with the story to make it completely different. But I'm just looking forward to a visually stunning, interesting movie with yearning, you know. I saw a post that I put on my Instagram that I'll link below. The post was that it's so funny that Wuthering Heights is featuring 2 Australian actors from Queensland. The fact that both of the leads are from Queensland is just so random. I put on my Instagram about, should I read the book first or should I just go watch the movie? The book's not that long. It's maybe 400 or so pages, which is still quite chunky, but it's not massive. In my head, it's a real tome. I could read that if I want to before the movie comes out, but I don't know if I really want to. But also I do. But also do I? I've got a lot I need to read, and I don't read very fast. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more bookish content from me. I hope you have a wonderful month of February. Comment down below if you've read any amazing books so far this year, or books that you are looking forward to, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.